knows you're not selling anything.
The Fed's not done, and I'm going to tell you why.
Welcome back to Sean's Show, guys. Episode 39. Thanks for sticking with me. If you're still listening, we're figuring it out. I'm here by myself today, no producer. I usually am here with either Josh or Matt, my Latino and Asian producers, respectively. But we're doing a little solo episode today. I'm finally in New York City. I'm very excited, and it's been great. It's been great to be around culture. It's been great to be around people of multiple races. That's been a lot of fun. And I hope you're having a good week. Lots of stuff in the news. We're doing a little bit of a condensed episode today, but let's just jump right in. I mean, there was another Boeing whistleblower that was committed suicide, and I don't know what it is, guys. I don't know if Boeing is just a really harsh, stressful work environment, and if working at Boeing is just so stressful that all these people are committing suicide that also happen to be leaking information to the public and the press about the company's woes. But, the real question I have is, I guess whistleblowing makes you very sad. That's the only conclusion here, is that after you whistleblow, you feel bad about abandoning your company and then you kill yourself. That's what I believe. That's what you believe too. That's what you believe because it is the truth. Because that's what Boeing said happened. Another Boeing whistleblower commits suicide. I mean, this is really unalived. I got this comment on my Instagram. I made a little joke. I'm headlining Seattle, come out May 17th. Come out to that show, SeanRileyComedy.com for tickets. Anyway, I made a joke about Seattle. I was researching about the Seattle Space Needle and the history to do write a joke about it, and I learned that 9 people have actually jumped off the Seattle Space Needle. 6 of them were base jumpers, and 3 of them were unfortunately doing it to commit suicide. And it's really tragic when someone commits suicide, and obviously you have a lot of questions when you learn about it, why didn't you take a base jumper with you? So I made that joke, and then someone on my Instagram was like, do more jokes about Israel and less jokes about self-harm. Hey, bitch, no. I'm going to do jokes about both. I'm not a monkey, okay? I may be a clown. I'm not a monkey. I don't dance. But it's really, you can't, it's hard, I really feel like comedy's fractured into these two groups where you have one group being like, you can't say anything anymore. Woke culture, cancel culture is coming after us. We're getting censored. And then you have the other side, which is the side of sanity, which is the side that I'm on, which is that you can say anything you want, and we live in a free market where hedge funds can buy single-family homes. That's America. That is the America that I want to live in. I want to live in an America where you can say whatever you want without fear of prosecution or persecution. And number 2, I want to live in a world where BlackRock can buy your home from you at a 30% premium, all cash. As is all cash. Isn't that the America you want to live in? Do you want to live in an America where you are getting censored and you can't say anything and only individual people can buy homes? Or do you want to live in a world where you can say whatever you want and BlackRock owns everything? Those are kind of your options. But it's good. It's good. Let's dive into this. I mean, it's really, one whistleblower committing suicide, quote unquote, is one thing. 2 Boeing whistleblowers, committing suicide is 2 murders. They're hiring hitmen, which I support. Let's read this story. Whistleblower Josh Dean of Boeing supplier Spirit Aerosystems has died. Joshua Dean, a former quality auditor at Boeing's supplier Spirit Aerosystems and one of the first whistleblowers to allege Spirit leadership had ignored manufacturing defects on the 737 MAX, died Tuesday morning after a struggle with a sudden, fast-spreading infection. That's the story that they're telling. So there was a whistleblower. His name was Joshua Dean. He worked for Spirit Aerosystems, and he was a whistleblower about, this is Spirit Aerosystems, a Boeing supplier. He was a whistleblower about the practices on the 737 MAX, and he has died suddenly of a fast-spreading infection. Okay, let's read on. What is this? The fast-spreading infection, autopsy specialists say, was 8 bullets to the back of his head and back and neck. That is a very, the fastest spreading infection is when you get shot back in the back of the head 5 or 6 times. That is it's very sad. It's very sad that this whistleblower had come in contact with an infection that ended his life very quickly, despite him being a very healthy man. He was, and this can happen to anyone. Anyone who is out there in the world, you got to watch out for these fast spreading infections. If you're listening, you're still out there, you listen to this shit. It's a fast spreading infection. You have to be very careful because, COVID got a lot of people. You never know when the next pandemic is going to happen. The next fast spreading infection that affects only healthy people that tell the truth about their companies putting profits over safety. If you are a whistleblower, your immunity goes down a lot. I've said that. That's actually, I've spoken with Andrew Huberman about that. If you whistleblow about anything that's happening at your company that you think is morally wrong, you will get an infection known as a man dressed in all black emptying a clip into the back of your head. That's just an infection that could happen. And you might be wondering, well, how do I defend against these infections, Sean? Drink some orange juice. I don't know. Go for a run. Stay hydrated. Eat well. Eat some green. Your diet has to be a rainbow. And also, shut the fuck up about Boeing. You want to avoid getting a sudden infection? Shut the fuck up about Boeing. Dean had given a deposition in a Spirit shareholder lawsuit and also filed a complaint with the FAA alleging serious and gross misconduct by senior quality management of the 737 production line. Okay, let's read more. His condition deteriorated rapidly once the bullets hit his cerebral cortex. Okay. His condition deteriorated rapidly, and he was airlifted from Wichita to a hospital in Oklahoma City, where he was then experienced another infection, another 6 bullets in his eye socket from Boeing operatives. There he was, put on an ECMO machine, which circulates and oxygenates a patient's blood outside the body, taking over heart and lung function when a patient's organs don't work well on their own. A relative of Dean said he was fighting for his life. A CT scan had indicated that he had suffered a stroke. I mean, what is Boeing knows that the public is not this retarded. Like, they know we're not this stupid. But it's just so brazen. And that's my point that I made in the last episode, guys. That's how you know America is a failing state. Because the companies don't even try to hide the fraud. Boeing, any company, BlackRock, Blackstone, Walmart, McDonald's, the airlines, they don't even try to hide the fact that they don't give a fuck about you. They don't even try to hide their brazen because they know that like this is the end. That the chairs, it's the end of the musical chairs. There's one chair and there's a bunch of people running around that chair trying to get in that chair, which is healthcare. And guess what? There's 1 million people fighting for one chair. So one guy's going to get that chair. Everyone else is fucked. That's why Boeing feels like they could just do this. Full disclosure, I own Boeing stock. Second full disclosure, I hired the guy that poisoned this whistleblower. And they're getting it all wrong. Barnett was found dead in an apparent suicide in March. So they're talking about the other whistleblower. The same law firm represented both. Very interesting. The Charleston County Coroner's Office reported Barnett's death appeared to be, quote, from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the back of the head. Almost 2 months later, the police investigation into his death is still ongoing. I mean, it's really, really, really... I fly a lot. I mean, guys, I'm flying a Boeing in a couple of days here. I'm flying in a Boeing. In a 737-900 MAX. Do you fly? You should be worried about this shit. And the thing is, if getting in a plane worries you these days, guys, here's something you can always remember. If you die, the pain will stop. And that's why I never worry. If I die, the pain will stop. So you can always look forward to that. I honestly am grateful that Boeing has reduced their manufacturing quality, because if I die in a plane crash, I won't have to deal with Swifties anymore. You know? I won't have to deal with rhetoric about Taylor Swift, positive or negative. And that's a plus. If I die in a Boeing crash, I don't have to hear about Palestine anymore or Israel. We don't because I'll be dead and gone. And that's always a positive. That's why you just got to live your life and have some fun. But I don't know. Are we going to Here's my question. Are we going to see a third whistleblower dying suddenly from suicide? How about a fourth? How about a fifth? This is a message to the entire Boeing company and its subcontractors and its supply chain that you should shut your mouth or you're going to die suddenly from an infection. This is a message. And we'll see. I studied aerospace engineering. I know a lot of aerospace engineers, and they fall in line and they're pussies. And no offense if you're listening, if you're an aerospace engineer, but you're falling in line and you're a pussy and you're in the machine. You're in the fucking cog. You're a cog in the machine. And I think a lot of them will shut the fuck up. And this is only going to be relevant again when a Boeing crashes, and I'm on it. But it's scary. As soon as NBA, we've all seen the documentaries. As soon as NBA grads took over Boeing and started to sell off the business to try and maximize the share price, we all know the story. We don't need to rehash it. And if you ask me, I think these whistleblowers wanted attention. That's my take. And when you want attention like this, it's only natural that you get an infection, which is getting shot in the back of the head. That's only natural. Okay. So get excited about that. Moving on. That's enough about suicide. So this actually really surprised me. This is more of a niche story, but Tesla has laid off basically its entire EV charging network. And it's really, I've always hated Elon. I don't fuck with him. I don't fuck with Sam Altman. I don't fuck with these tech billionaires. You know that. If you listen, you know this. And I was shit talking Tesla fucking 7-8 years ago before and Elon was even in the public sphere. He was a little bit, but only nerds knew about Elon. Sam Altman now is the Elon of 10 years ago. Sam Altman now, you only really know his name if you're into tech and you're into AI. In 5 years, Sam Altman's going to be a celebrity. He already is certainly a celebrity now, but it just sucks because I've always shit on Tesla and everyone defends it, and I've always said it's a bullshit company and Elon's a fucking fraudster. And now he's laying off a lot of people in his business, and it's just good to be right. I told you so. I told you so. This week, Tesla abruptly laid off most of the employees that built its charging network. CEO Elon Musk says the company still plans to grow that network, which is in the process of opening to other car companies, but it will do so more slowly, and now without about 500 of the people who built the system. So it was like 500 people. The vehicle automatically routes you to the appropriate charger. It sort of manages your trip. So the chargers work. Have you used the EV charger? I drove an EV car on a road trip once, and it was a fucking nightmare. Literally, range anxiety is the industry term, but the battery can just fucking die. It really, really can. It's no different from your iPhone battery. iPhones last half the day. With how addicted everyone is to iPhones and shit, it lasts. Guys, in the morning, I wake up. Within 2 hours, my phone is dead. Okay? because we are not an innovative country anymore. But these EV batteries are the same thing. It says you have 300 miles on the range. Then you drive like 12 miles and half your battery's fucking dead. And these EV charging stations, they take a fucking half hour. They're impossible to use. Have you used an EV charging station? Especially like Charge Point. There's all these apps. Nothing is worse than like renting an EV and then having someone who's like really into EVs tell you about all the cool apps that you can download so that you can charge the EV. That is really, I was in that situation. I was on the road. Some guy told us, he was like, hey, let me show you all these cool apps you can download so that you can make your EV experience as good as possible. I wanted to be the third whistleblower at Boeing so that someone would kill me. I'm so depressed. I want to work at Boeing and whistleblow just so someone murders me. That's how sad I am at this point. I mean, it's really it's fucked. But Elon's pulling back on EV chargers because the technology's just not there. And again, do I hope EVs happen? I guess I hope EVs happen. I don't know. Is it really something we should be excited about? I mean, it's again, like I'm a cynical guy. And part of me just wants to see the fucking company fail because that fucking prick is so arrogant. He's such an arrogant fucking prick. And the only thing worse than Elon Musk are his fans. Truly. Elon says some shit on Twitter. He can do whatever he wants. But to bow down to this guy as if he's like the next not L. Ron Hubbard. He's the next fucking Benjamin Franklin or any one of these inventor guys is insane. It's truly insane. It's a religion. The only religion, it's a religion stronger than than Islam and Judaism. It's the only religion stronger than that. The only people that have more conviction than Muslims and Zionists is Elon Musk fanboys. You want to talk about a group of people that is dug in until they're fucking dead is Elon Musk fanboys. I guarantee you, if there were some sort of issue and you go after Elon, he's gonna have a fucking just thousands of soldiers, incel soldiers. If anyone really comes after Elon hard, like the US government, I mean, they already kind of have with this tax thing. Or with this thing about him getting like a payout from his company. The SEC charged him and deprived him of like a $56 billion bonus that was agreed to in a shareholder agreement. But the point is, you better be ready for war because those guys are fucking dug in. They love him. They love him more than God. He's their God. He's their God to them. And they need to put their dick inside of something. That's the only cure for someone who is an Elon Musk fanboy is they need to put their dick in something. I don't care if it's a fleshlight. I don't care if it's another dick, a butt, something. You got to do something because you can't dedicate your life to that shit. It's pathetic. It really is, guy. I mean, it really is. Let's keep going. Let's see here. Let's go back. I think there was some more reporting on hedge funds buying houses. I mean, again, guys, let's dive back into the story because I feel like I didn't cover it enough. I want to cover more of it. It's one of these stories where, let's see if this loads. It's one of these stories where you have it really it breaks down the left and the right. It really destroys it. I really do. I love this hedge fund story about uh it's unifying. And what it does is it unifies groups that are so polarized and so divided. And it shows the idiocracy on both sides, and the really just a lack of principles on both sides of the political spectrum, because you've got you have basically the government trying to stop hedge funds from buying homes, because they say the argument is that this will make housing more expensive for the average family. And it's fundamentally a liberal argument. It's fundamentally, well, I won't say liberal, I'll say pro regulation argument. It's a regulation, and I think people really just, their heads are so clouded about stuff. It's really I feel like people can't look at shit objectively anymore. People have really lost the ability to just take it one fucking tiny step back and look at stuff objectively. Look at it objectively. We have regulation on the table in the United States that will stop hedge funds from buying homes, which is just a asset, a commodity like anything else. Okay? Because they say it will threaten the ability for families to buy homes. And my question to the audience, to you, the listeners, is this. And no matter how you feel about this, let me just ask you an unbiased question, okay? Let me ask you a question. If you think that hedge funds should be able to buy homes, if you're a guy out there and you think that hedge funds should have the right to buy a home, let me ask you this. It's a very simple question. Have you thought about the little guy? If you're a guy that thinks that these massive multi-billion dollar private equity firms and hedge funds should be able to buy single family homes, let me ask you this question. Have you thought about the little guy? Of course, I am talking about the small hedge funds that can't just shell out billions of dollars for these homes. Have you thought about small hedge funds? Have you thought about the upstart hedge funds that barely have any assets under management? Have you thought about those hedge funds? Have you thought about the fact that these big hedge funds are shorting out, they're pushing out all the little guys, the little hedge funds that want to buy homes from from families? It's not fair. And you can't have it both ways. Okay? So if you're going to regulate it, you have to regulate it in a fair way. How about this as a regulation? How about no one gets to buy houses? How about that? How about no one gets to buy or sell houses anymore, period? What if we just did that? No one, if you got a house, great. You got it, you own it, but you can't sell it. And if you want a house, sorry, they're all gone. They're taken. How about that? How about you guys shut the fuck up about housing? I'm so tired of hearing about housing issues. I'm tired. I will rent forever. Most of the America is going to rent forever. And when you bitch about property taxes, it's embarrassing. If you're bitching about property taxes on a home, I need you to shut the fuck up, because many people are renting. I'm even renting this podcast studio. All I do is rent. I rent everything. People rent my time from me every day. If you have a job, you're renting your time. We're a country of rent. It's rent. Like the musical. Okay? We all have AIDS. We're all getting infections and dying. Okay? That's what America is now. We're getting infected suddenly. That's the episode title. Infected suddenly. Next time someone does commit suicide, I'm just gonna be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry he was infected suddenly. That's gonna be my new, how there's like these new words for suicide is unalived. Gen Z wants to use unalive for suicide. I'm gonna start saying that when someone commits suicide, I'm gonna say that Boeing infected them suddenly. That's what I'm gonna say instead. It's just a little more. It's because committing suicide implies that the person intended to kill themselves, and it perpetuates stereotypes. You see, committing suicide, bad, old, traditional, conservative, bad, evil phrase. Infected suddenly by Boeing is progressive. That's what you should say. So yeah, I mean it's a pretty it's a pretty crazy world out there from what I've heard. I mean, my life's going pretty good, but from what I've heard, it's pretty fucked. For my friends, I've heard a lot. I've heard how bad it is. I live in Brooklyn now, so I'm doing pretty well. But it seems like it's bad. So I'm sorry about that if you're struggling out there. I forgot to ask my Facebook group if you guys have questions, so I skipped that this week. But again, for people that are frustrated about like the show, let me just address. Let me break the fourth wall. If you're frustrated, the show is kind of up and down, and there's a lot of moving parts. You gotta stick with me because you gotta understand that the rep. It's more important to get the rep in and to just do the thing every week, even if the circumstances are different. That's my opinion. That's my take. You gotta do it every week, and you build as you do it. You're gonna fail as you go, and you get to something good. Because so again, but we're working it out, guys. It's gonna be great. We got a good system going now in New York, so it's gonna be a fun show. Gonna have a lot of cool guests and shit. So I love you for your listener. I just wanted to say that. And if you like Elon Musk, go ahead and get a job at Boeing and then whistleblow. That's what I would like for you to do next. Um. Oh, here we go. This was in January, but let's cover this. Last month, arrived a Jeff Bezos backed real estate company announced a new fund aimed at acquiring single family homes. U.S. Representative Ro Khanna responded by saying, quote, the last thing America needs is a Bezos backed investment company further consolidating single family homes and putting homeownership out of reach for more and more people. Housing should be a right, not a speculative commodity. Now, I mean, I think a lot of people will probably puke when they hear that people say housing is a right. Um, and I would have been on Ro Khanna's side until last week when I finally convinced my parents to co-sign my lease. And it's a bloodbath. So good luck to you guys. But housing is not a right. You know, it is a right. My mom co-signing my lease. I have that right. That's a fucking right. You want to talk about rights? um, So there's this bill. Here's the bill. The bill is End Hedge Fund Control of American Homes Act of 2023. Khanna's Stop Wall Street Landlord Act calls for additional taxes to be placed on institutional investors that buy single-family homes, while the new bill calls for a complete ban on hedge funds from buying homes and forcing them to sell off their current holdings over a 10-year period. Hey, guess what? If I own a house and BlackRock wants to buy it for 200% of the market value, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to fucking sell it to them. And you know what, Representative Ro Khanna? If you don't like hedge funds buying homes, maybe that's the wrong focus. Maybe what you should be doing is you should be focusing on trans healthcare. No, I'm joking. What you should be focusing on is making in America where people can make a wage that allows them to outbid a hedge fund. What do you want? Do you want a world where hedge funds are regulated and can't buy houses just because it's a band-aid on a system that's already fucked? Or do you want the system that's actually fixed? And do you want a world, an actual free market economy where people are paid a wage that allows them to buy a home? And the answer is neither of those worlds exist. The real world is you're going to be doing fentanyl outside of a vegan restaurant in Seattle. That's America now. It's an America that I like. It's an America that I'm proud of. I lost a lot of money on the stock market this week, guys. I'm trying to power through. I really am. It's very sad. Let's close it out, guys. We do have to do a little more condensed episode here. Um, what do I want to close on? I mean, there's so much to cover. I mean, we gotta talk about the protests. We do, right? We have to talk about them. It's they're really coming to a head now, guys. I mean, they're being raided. And it's just like this issue about the regulation on hedge funds buying homes. Republicans want that to happen, even though they claim to be into free markets and shit. They want hedge funds to not be able to buy homes because guess what? The average Republican just as fucking poor as the average Democrat. Okay, it's divisive, and in the same way, you got these protests is really showing that like people don't even know what they believe. They just want to be on a team. And that's really my message today. I'm fundamentally tired of just this bullshit team shit. I don't want to be on anyone's team. All of your teams fucking suck. The only team switching I'm doing is when I go to the gay bar tonight in Brooklyn, okay? That's the only team switching I'm doing. I don't want to be on a team. I don't want to be in a political party. I don't want to have a take on the Middle East. I just want coffee. I just want a coffee and a blowjob. Is that too much to ask? What happened to America where everyone had the right to get a coffee and some pancakes and a blowjob from the gender of their choice? Is that an America that's still possible? Or are we crumbling, or is there no turning back? Is there no turning back from the collapse of this country? I mean, I know I sound dramatic, but I can really feel it. We need a recession. We need the pipes. The real swamp that needs to be drained, it is fucking Wall Street. The swamp must be drained. You want to know the real swamp that needs to be drained? It's Wall Street. You want to know why Wall Street needs to be drained? Because I want a job there, and they won't hire me because they're overstaffed right now. That's why the swamp must be drained. Okay? We need to drain it. I look around, all I see is anger and rage. I look around at the world, all I see is rage and hate and anger. I don't see love. I just see artists grandstanding about issues they don't really care about. Podcasters talking about hedge funds and shilling for soda brands like Dr. Pepper. If you're watching, I'm wearing a Dr. Pepper shirt. It's sad. And I'm hoping that I don't see a way out. The only way out of this mess, the only way, people ask me all the time, Sean, do you have the answers? And I go, yes, but I'm going to charge you. If you want to hear the answers, you're going to have to listen to some ads. If you want to hear the answers to society's problems, which I share freely on Sean's show, you're going to have to listen to some ads and some sponsorships by my sponsors, which include the IDF, Saudi Aramco, and George Soros's hedge fund, which funded the protests at Columbia. No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm really, really trying to just have some fun while I'm alive. And no matter how rich you are or how poor you are or how gay you are or how straight you are, or if you want to cut your dick off or not, or if whatever kind of religious clothing you want to wear, let's just try to have some fun. Can't we all let's just remember, I don't care how you feel about all these issues that are trying to divide us in the news. Can't we all just enjoy the fact that Boeing is murdering people? Isn't that fun and funny? That's fun. It's fun. Boeing is killing people because they don't want the stock price to go down. That's funny. That is funny. And if you think that's not funny, then you're retarded. Okay? It's funny. I almost worked at Boeing. You guys, if I had worked at Boeing, you bet your fucking ass I would have been a whistleblower and I would have been infected suddenly. Okay? And if you listen to this show, you're probably on a list somewhere and you're going to be infected suddenly. So you better get used to hearing the phrase infected suddenly. Okay? Anyway, guys, we have to wrap it up here. I love you so much. Thanks for listening. We're going to do 2-hour blocks at the studio here. So, this is just a short episode, but don't worry, guys. We are going to be doing closer to 90 minutes from now on. I'm going to find a full-time producer in New York to produce this shit. Although I do kind of like the solo vibe a little bit, but if you're still listening, I love you. I'm on the road. I'm headlining. I'm doing some dates coming up. SeanRileyComedy.com for those. I'm in Seattle. I'm in Raleigh. I'm in Birmingham. I'm in Alabama. That is, unfortunately. I'm in San Diego coming up. I'm going all over. So check me out. I'm coming to your city to do some stand-up comedy with my friends. And join the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Sean Show. We have a lot of fun. If you ask a question, I give you $5. I want to make the show interactive. It'd really help me if you just follow the goddamn show on Spotify. We've been at 30 followers forever. Someone needs to follow the fucking show, or I'm going to infect all of you suddenly. Okay? So, be ready for that, guys. But thanks for listening. Have a great week. Have some fun. Don't get too pissed about shit. Just enjoy it. All right. Bye.